Kiara might be the daughter of Simba and the future queen, but she's just so much more than a royal cub. From the moment she was born, she wasn't ordinary. She was way different. She was braver, she was louder, she was wilder, and there's way too much you probably didn't even know about her, so we're gonna do a deep dive today. We're going in on the secrets, the clues, and the truths that are disturbing about Kiara. And by the time you finish with us today, you're never gonna look at her the same way again. Well, right from when Kiara opened her eyes, everybody was expecting everything from her. She wasn't just any other cub, she was the future queen. That meant no mistakes, no wandering, and definitely no danger. But Kiara, she didn't care about any of that. She didn't just want a life of waiting around to be queen. She wanted to run, she wanted to climb, to explore, and to just live her life. Now, that's one reason why she kept escaping Pride Rock. It wasn't about being reckless, it was about trying to carve her own path and make her own destiny. Outsiders had a tendency to scare the tar out of most lions, but with Kiara, it was completely different. When she first met Kovu, she didn't run away. Instead, she stood her ground. They fought, they teased each other, and almost got eaten by crocodiles. But that's what made her special. No judgment. To her, he was just another lion, not a threat. Even when she discovered who his mother was, she didn't care. She just went with her gut, and that's what makes her stronger than most adults in the Pride Lands. After Kovu had rescued her from the fire, one would have expected Simba to accept him, but no. Simba didn't trust him. He thought Kovu was a trap. And Kiara wasn't all about that. She confronted her father. She endorsed Kovu in front of the entire Pride. Even when she was told not to leave Pride Rock without an escort, she left. She went to find him because she knew he was good at heart. Now that's the kind of loyalty that makes him a leader. Sure, Simba made mistakes, but he also tried really hard to prepare Kiara for the throne. He taught her about the circle of life, about responsibility, and about ruling with wisdom. And while Kiara didn't always listen, she did pay attention sometimes. She learned from his actions, even his bad ones. She saw how fear could tear the Pride Lands apart. She saw how hatred could lead to war. And that's why she knew what Simba didn't. Sometimes it takes way more courage to forgive than it does to fight. Let's be honest, no Roar of the Elders, no Lion Guard, no epic power move. When she jumped between Simba and Zira, she had one thing, her voice. And with it, she spoke from the heart. She told both sides that they were the same. She reached the lions that Zira raised and changed their hearts. She did what no Roar ever could. That is the power of Kiara. Most heroes fought with claws. She fought with her heart. She never attacked to win a battle. She won by listening, understanding, and reaching across enemy lines and finding good in others. And actually, that's something that not even Simba could do. He always saw them as threats, while she saw Outlanders as just other lions. She didn't see enemies, she saw family, and that changed everything. She wasn't dreaming of crowns and thrones. She wanted the connection. She wanted unity. The first one to think the Pridelanders and Outlanders could actually fit together and had bet on it. It wasn't a dream, it was a reality that she was pushing for. Simba would have split the Pride Lands forever, two sides, two worlds, always ready to go at each other's throats. But Kiara, she brought them together, all because she never gave up on love or what's right. Maybe the world needs a little bit more of that. Kion was out leading the Lion Guard while Kiara stayed home. She was training, learning, and watching her kingdom grow and fall into chaos. She faced fire traps, surprise attacks, and even betrayal from within. And through all of that, she kept her cool. She learned that being queen wasn't just about giving orders. It was about earning trust, listening, lifting other people up. By the time Simba thrust her into his first solo hunt, Kiara was already way more ready than anybody thought. Bear in mind, Kovu was taught to hate. Zira raised him specifically to destroy Simba, for the takeover of the Pride Lands, to finish what had started with Scar. But all of that was before He met Kiara, and everything changed. She started to show him that peace does exist. She taught him to laugh. She allowed him to be his own person. Kovu, not Zira's weapon against the Pride Lands. If Kovu found redemption, it was thanks to Kiara giving him that opportunity. Zira is one of the most dangerous lionesses in the history of the Lion King. We're talking intelligent, ruthless, vengeful. But Kiara didn't flinch from Zira's attack. She stood in front of her father. She stood in front of Kovu. She stood up before an entire army. All alone. She tried to save Zira. She extended an olive branch. Twice. Even when Zira rejected it, she never gave up. Because you know what? Deep down, she was convinced that nobody was beyond redemption. Simba knew all about the circle of life, but sometimes fear clouded his judgment. He had a really hard time letting go of the past. To him, he could never forgive what Scar did, and it nearly cost him everything. As for Kiara, she focused on the future. She understood that the circle of life isn't just about power. It's about growth. It's about forgiveness. That was the way that she lived in the circle, unlike Simba, and that's how she was ready to be queen. Kion possessed the roar of the elders, a tremendously supernatural roar that can move mountains. Kiara had her voice. But when it came to the choice of who would take the leadership of the Pride Lands, Kion stood back. Because even he saw it. Kiara, she didn't need magic to lead. It was her spirit that was her power. Kindness and courage to take a stand in the crowd and speak her mind. That was her strength. And that is how she earned her crown. She wasn't a queen by blood. She was a queen at heart. Against all odds, she united two prides. She gave an end to the traditions of vengeance. She opted for love over war, and she saved a kingdom, not through warfare, but through a promise. A pledge to do it differently, to lead in wisdom, not in fear, to carry on the good aspects of her father's reign and leave behind the pain. So, why don't we hear more about her? Simba gets all the attention. Kion has a whole Lion Guard series. But Kiara? She's the one who made peace possible. She's the one who altered the course of Kovu's future. She saved both prides from a war that they could never win. She's way more than just a side character in The Lion King. She's the lioness who kept everything glued together when the kingdom was falling apart at the seams. And that should never slip anybody's mind. So the next time you sit down to watch The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, pay attention. Look closer. Because Kiara, she's not just Simba's daughter. Kiara is a leader, a legend, the lioness that changed the Pride Lands forever. And until next time, friends, Hakuna Matata.